You're listening to Entrepreneur Encounter, the podcast where soft skills meet real talk for creative business owners who are building with purpose. I'm Dana, a Pinterest marketing strategist and agency owner helping wedding pros and creative entrepreneurs get seen without burning out.
And I'm Sarah, a business and team strategist who helps small teams and podcasters communicate clearly, lead with empathy, and grow sustainably. Together, we're unpacking the messy, meaningful side of entrepreneurship, from boundaries to burnout, leadership to listening, so you can build a business that actually fits your life.
So we're talking about staying calm when everyone else is panicking and why that's such an important skill, which is why I say super mompreneur is the thing, because that's where my brain went for it.
Yeah, because there's some situations where we just want to punch a wall, but we don't want to do that. So we have to figure out how to stay calm.
I went and played in dirt today. That's what I did to calm myself down.
That's awesome.
I went outside in the backyard and we have bags of mulch. And so I just emptied the bags of mulch and played in dirt.
That's
for
awesome.
10 minutes. That's how I stayed calm.
That's funny.
And then I came, for those that are wondering what all this laundry is behind me, we have school starting back in 2 weeks. And so I made it my mission to go through all my kids' clothes. That was the other thing that did calm me down.
Oh, I need to do that. Oh.
5 kids. It's a lot of clothes to filter through.
I only have 2, but still, I'm procrastinating hard.
I told myself after the beach, I would come and do that because that felt like a nice calming thing. I'd have 3 or so weeks. And then I realized I only have 2 weeks. So this week has to be all of that filtering so that next week is the gathering of the things.
Yeah.
Which there might not even be school supplies left. Who knows?
Amazon
is our lifesaver.
Okay, let's get into it.
Hey, entrepreneurs. If you've survived our banter, welcome back to the Entrepreneur Encounter.
I'm Sarah, and I'm your podcast operations and team strategist.
And I'm Dana, your Pinterest marketer for wedding pros. And today we are talking about one of those soft skills that sounds simple, as we were just kind of bantering on about, until you actually need it. And that is staying calm when everything around you is falling apart and you feel like you're sitting in a dumpster fire. This could be anything from a client sends an email that immediately makes you want to pull your hair out, a platform update tanks your traffic, a vendor drops the ball 3 days before a huge launch. Something breaks. And from my experience as a wedding planner, something always breaks. Something always messes with your timeline. The deadline is getting closer, and suddenly your brain has decided that everything around you is an emergency. And then you look around and there are 2 kinds of people. There's the person who's adding to the panic. I'm sure someone just popped into your head. Maybe 2. And then there's the person who's somehow standing in the middle of all of it going, all right, let's figure this out.
I want to be the one that says, let's figure it out. I don't yeah, sometimes I panic and I'm like, oh, wait, let's take a breather and figure it out. And we tend to assume that the second person is just that way. They're naturally calm. They're good under pressure. They don't get rattled. And if you're someone who tends to panic, you might think, well, that's just not me. I think we all panic internally inside at some point in our day.
That part. Yes, we do.
It's not necessarily like a character flaw or a personality trait, but what if staying calm under pressure is something that you can learn? So that's what we're getting into today. We're going to talk about why we mistake calm for personality, what's actually happening when someone stays composed under pressure, and how you can start practicing that skill in your own business. Because you don't need to become a completely different person. You just need to build a different response.
Or before we get into that, a quick note, because we have been enjoying this process so much this month. If you're a values-aligned entrepreneur listening right now and thinking, I would love more people like this in my audience, we have something for you that we're calling the Spotlight Swap. It's a newsletter exchange for entrepreneurs whose audiences are overlapping with ours. There's no cost to it. It's completely value-driven. It's just simply a way to trade visibility with people who are actually a good fit for each other's communities. You can find all the details in the show notes, but it is something that Sarah and I we started on a whim. I think, Sarah, it was your random idea. And then just the return has been super fun.
So let's start with something I think we honestly get wrong all the time. When you see someone staying calm during a crisis, you're not necessarily seeing someone who isn't stressed. You're seeing someone who knows what to do with the stress, because calm doesn't mean you don't have a reaction. You could be stressed and still make a thoughtful decision. You can be frustrated and still be able to communicate professionally. You can be scared and still take that next step. And I think that's where we get fooled by the panic mode or not being calm. We see the person who is composed, and we don't see all the moments that helped them get there. The times they had to learn how to pause, the times they reacted too quickly and realized, okay, that didn't help. And the times they had to sit with uncomfortable feeling instead of immediately doing something about it. I mean, I've been there. There's so many times where I was in panic mode and reacting a way that I probably shouldn't have, maybe made the wrong decision, but you can still feel stressed and make the right decision. You can still feel like in this panic mode, but just kind of like, wait, step back and like, okay, what can I do to fix this without me pulling my hair out?
And that's the part I feel like we don't see. And that's the like social media perfect image that we have been so ingrained to seeing. I think it's starting to shift. It has been for a little while, and I'm really glad to see it. But the parts that we don't see, we just online, we see the finished product to think, oh, they're just good under pressure. Or, oh, overnight they were a success with their $7 guide or whatever the case may be. And that's not true. They may have practiced being good under pressure for months before they finally shared that tool or resource, or behind the scenes of some tech fail and the launch almost didn't go through and we had to figure this out. Like, that probably took a few launches for them to finally figure out that amazing process to keep them cool, calm, and collected in the heat of the moment. And coming from the wedding industry, that's a whole vibe. That's a whole vibe.
It's the same in the podcast industry. There's so much going on behind the scenes a lot of people don't realize. So it's like you're putting on a show. And in the wedding industry, you're putting on a show.
So coming with my background as an event planner, I have worked many weddings where like the vendor team is amazing and we all like are there to support each other and communicate. Hey, I'm about to go do these photos, blah, blah, blah. Make sure these family members show up in about 15 minutes. Like, people are moving. And if you've ever been in crowd control, it's literally like herding cats, trying to get them to go all in the right direction. Even if there's amazing, beautiful signage, like, people just don't know what to do sometimes. Or they're just too busy in the moment talking to each other to pay attention to where it is they need to go. So it's not really a wrong thing, but there's also weddings where vendors are more emotional or don't handle stressful situations well, or they have very strong feelings and opinions on something. An example that I stayed as calm as I could. It literally ended the wedding. I was working this wedding. It was a barn wedding. The DJ was a professional DJ. However, he was a friend of the groom or a friend of the groom's family. That's how he got that gig. Well, they were doing photos, golden hour sunset photos, which all the rage. They will always be important because they are so gorgeous. So obviously the couple is not on the dance floor. Well, the DJ decided, well, the wedding must be over because no one was dancing, even though I gave him a detailed timeline of here's when photos are happening, so forth and so on. And he started to pack up his stuff.
Oh, wow.
While they were like finishing up, talking to people outside and coming back in. He's like, well, the bride isn't on the dance floor, so the party is over. I was like, we still have to do our grand exit. You cannot pack up right now. Like, I was whole mama voiced on him. Like, you will not pack up. You will stop and you will wait, play background music if that's what you so desire. But because it wasn't like a nightclub party vibe, He decided it was done and started to pack up. And I was like, no.
Oh, wow. No, I
So
would have been
that
so
was me
upset.
having to stay as calm as possible and trying to figure out how do we salvage this? And that's how I figured out or found out that he was a friend of the groom's is through that situation, because the groom was being very nice. He was like, it's fine. We're kind of done anyway. Like, I was like, okay, we're still doing your grand exit. He will play a song and you will walk through these sparklers. And then if you want him to continue packing up, then I will let that happen. However, here's the timeline that we approved of is going to happen for you, because that's my job.
Yeah.
Is to make it happen. But yeah, that was that.
That's a lot. No, I've been married. I would not want to be on the other side of that, planning all of that. That's a lot of chaoticness. My example, right, when trying to figure out like how to stay calm in a situation, working in the podcast industry, obviously there's a timeline, a production timeline from when you get the raw footage or the raw files of the podcast. And you have to make sure that, like for the team that I work on, having to delegate out to the editor, to the person that writes the show notes, to the person that creates the graphics. So we have to make sure that by the time we get the files and by the time that the episode goes live, that it's cohesive and it gets done in a matter of time. So we have a buffer of maybe 3 or 4 days. So if anything happens, we can get that done, revisions, whatever the case may be, so the episode can go live. There's been a couple times, well, it happens not more often than not, but it can happen. But when I first started doing this, I would panic because it's the night before the show is supposed to go live and I don't have everything. So obviously
Oh no.
I'm panicking because like, oh my goodness, this show goes live tomorrow morning and needs to be scheduled. And so of course, before bedtime, I would check to make sure that it was ready for me to schedule, and it was ready, but later in the night. And that caused me to panic because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, if I don't do this, everything's going to fall out of place if I don't schedule this episode. If it happens now, I've learned to just take a step back and realize that I am doing my job. I did what I was supposed to do. If it's not done on this side, it's really not my fault. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? So that's how I trying to figure out ways to not panic, because there's some things that are just going to happen in any industry that you're in. Something's going to happen and somebody's going to go in full panic mode. And then you got somebody that's on the other side, like, okay, just calm down. It's okay. We got it. We'll figure it out. You know?
Yes. I think those experiences, no matter what the industry, teach us something important. Like, you don't become calm by never experiencing stress. I think, unfortunately, that's the only way to learn how to remain calm or to be calm is to experience stressful situations.
Mhm.
I'm not suggesting you go create them, but try not to avoid them completely, because the more that you allow yourself to sit in that uncomfortableness or work through the waves of a stressful situation, you become better at handling stress by actually practicing how to respond to it and reviewing it. So if you feel at the end of a stressful situation, I probably didn't handle that well, or if you're open to it with your team, say, hey, how do you feel like I handled that? And ask for feedback. You learn how to be more prepared the next time and the next time and the next time. So if calm isn't something that you were born with, which most of us probably are not, what actually makes the difference once you've gotten that feedback and everything? And I feel like there are 3 big pieces that help you stay calm. And the first one I know we've talked about before a few times, and that is self-awareness. You can't change something that you don't see. You have to notice what's happening inside you while it's happening in the moment. Not 3 hours later, not after you've sent that angry email. Please don't send those. Not after you've said something you wish you could take back, but in the actual moment. Pay attention to what's happening inside while whatever it is going on. And sometimes that's as simple as recognizing, I'm a little anxious about this. I'm a little frustrated about this. Naming what it is helps you know how to solve it and to work through it. Because once you're able to name what's actually happening, are you anxious? Are you tired? Are you hangry. You have a little bit more room to decide what you want to do next.
And the second piece is not judging yourself for having the emotion. I've done this most of my life, judging myself for being sad or being overwhelmed or being stressed. You can be anxious without telling yourself, why am I freaking out? I shouldn't be this stressed. I should have this figured out. Now you're stressed about being stressed. That's ridiculous. Like that, no. You're stressed because you're stressed. And just like how you're tired because you're tired. Don't beat yourself up about it. We all have emotions. We are human. Anything that we do in life, something is bound to happen. It's not going to be picture perfect all the time. So we just have to figure out a way to just kind of step back and just kind of make yourself feel better in a way. Like tell yourself, this is going to be fine. We're going to be okay. We got this.
We got this. And the third piece is probably the biggest one for me. What is actually in my control right now? And this is something I've been working on a lot lately. Like someone pointed out to me, and I wish I could find it real quick. The gist of it was, I worry a lot for someone who always figures it out. Something along those lines. Like for me to be such a worry-filled person or anxious person, I always figure it out. Everything is figure outable. So that's why this one, what is actually in my control right now, has become one of the biggest things that I've tried to focus on of these three. Because when something goes wrong, your brain wants to solve everything. I know mine does. Like, what does the client think? What does this mean about my revenue? What if this happens again? Or what if people think I'm incompetent? I honestly had that conversation earlier today with someone about talking about knowing my worth and my value with charging the pricing on my services. What if the entire business falls apart? When I quit my job, like my day job, when I was growing this business, and I finally took the big girl leap into full-time entrepreneurship, like I sent him my 2-week notice within a month. So before I even quit my job, like my 2 weeks was up, I lost 3 clients due to changes in nothing that I did. They were just needing more support that I could give them at the time, and were changing directions, cutting their budget, all sorts of things. And I lost 3, which was a big chunk of my revenue at the time. It was terrifying. So my brain already went into writing all the things that were happening and thinking, and suddenly trying to solve the immediate problems in front of me, but also imaginary problems without even dealing with the first one, the actual ones in the first place. So calm down doesn't mean ignoring possibilities or issues. It means bringing yourself back to the present, not going up some crazy ladder, and saying, what can I actually do right now? And that's where the power is with remaining calm, is what is the thing right in front of you that you need to handle so you can get to the potential next one, if it even comes up once you handle this fire.
Exactly. It's like all those what if questions. What if this happens? What if this happens? Well, what if something great happens? Have you thought about that? When we all think about all these imaginary problems, like what if the power goes out, for an example, but what if you get 5 more clients and you make all this money? So I'm wondering, could we just start thinking about what if questions about the more positive side of things? Like, what if I get $1 million today, instead of saying, what if my business falls apart? Maybe that would be a better way to think when it comes to, things out of your control. I don't know, just a thought. And I also think that we need to make an important distinction here too, because staying calm can sometimes sound like we're telling people just to get rid of their emotions, stop worrying about it, and just keep working along. And that's not what we're talking about. Suppressing your emotions isn't emotional intelligence. Pretending you're not upset doesn't make you calm, and forcing yourself to act like nothing happened doesn't mean you've processed anything.
So just to make sure it's clear, you can be angry or frustrated and still communicate in a professional, kind manner.
Yeah.
You can be disappointed and still make a good decision. You can be overwhelmed and say, I need a minute before I respond to this. Those are okay. You can have good and bad feelings at the same time, or positive and negative feelings, not good and bad, but positive and negative. You can be overwhelmed and still not lash out at someone, like
Yeah.
you both. It is possible. And I think that's actually a really important distinction and skill to work on, especially as business leaders and business owners. Like, emotional regulation isn't about getting rid of the emotion. It's about creating enough space between the emotion and the facts and your response that you get to choose what happens next, so that you can continue to make progress. Even if you're feeling unsure, even if you're feeling unsteady, you can still make progress. So following that thought process, let's make this practical. If someone's listening and thinking, great, but what am I actually supposed to do when something goes sideways? I always tell people to start small. From their pinning pipeline to handling chaos to wrangling children, changing schedules. My advice is always the same, and to start small. So first, just name what's happening. Identify what is going on. You can literally say to yourself out loud or internally, I'm anxious about this. I'm angry about this. I'm overwhelmed. I need to eat. I need to stand. I'm worried about how this is going to affect the business. That is not jumping to fixing it immediately. That's just you starting to identify it in a very small, hopefully easy way.
Yes. And second, you want to build your regulation skills before you need them. Go for a walk. Take a few minutes to breathe. Step away from your computer. I do this so often. If I'm in a task for a long time and I start to get really overwhelmed or feel anxious about that, maybe because I don't feel like I'm doing this correctly, I have to get up and go outside and just take a walk for a minute. You can journal if that's something that you're into. Whatever helps you slow down and reconnect with yourself, because you don't want your first attempt to learning how to regulate your nervous system to happen when a client is furious, or like whatever service or product that you're launching is falling apart. You practice when things are relatively calm so that you have something to reach from when they're not. And third, when something goes wrong, ask, what is actually in my control right now? Not tomorrow, not next month, not the imaginary worst case scenario. Like, you want to think about right now.
And then do that thing. Go do it. One thing, not 17 things. And this is me calling myself out in real time, because I try to do 17 things at one time and wonder why I'm an anxious ball sometimes. It doesn't happen as often because I have learned to do one thing at a time. And that's the whole point. You're building a skill through repetition. So it may be once a quarter that I start thinking, oh, I can do all these things at one time. We cannot. We should not. So every time you pause instead of immediately reacting, that's a good thing. That's repetition. Every time you identify the emotion instead of letting it run the entire show, that's a repetition that you can notice and do again. Every time you focus on what you can control instead of spiraling about everything you can't, pat yourself on the back. Because that is how you get better for the next time. And honestly, that's how you set the example for those around you who are still learning how to do it themselves.
So if you've been telling yourself, I'm just not a calm under pressure person, we want you to rethink that. We're not telling you to change your whole personality. No, that's not happening. Stay who you are. Because all these soft skills that we talk about are skills that you can learn and practice as you grow your business and your professional life and your personal life. Maybe you need more practice, because staying calm doesn't mean you won't ever get stressed. We're all going to get stressed at some point. And it means stress doesn't automatically get to make your decisions for you. And honestly, that's a pretty important skill when you're running a business. Thank you guys for spending time with us on Entrepreneur Encounter. As always, all of our information is going to be down in the show notes. Until next time. You can now follow us on LinkedIn at Entrepreneur Encounter.
Thanks for spending time with us today. If something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective, share it with a friend or send us a DM. We love hearing how these conversations land with you.
And if you're curious about how soft skills can support your next season of growth, we each have more resources to share.
You can find Dana on Instagram at danas.desk.nc for Pinterest strategy and intentional marketing.
And Sarah at URembert for team development, business leadership, and podcast support.
Until next time, keep leading with purpose
and growing with intention.